Hi, guys. My name is Maria Park, and welcome to Approach the Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing The Owl House, Season 2, Episode 7, entitled Through the Looking Glass Ruins. This was a very good episode, probably my favorite episode so far, mostly because my queer heart got happy because of all the Lumity scenes we got in this. Now, if you want to know what I think about Lumity up to this point, that video is posted over on Approach Theory. So make sure to check it out there. The link is below to my channel. And also make sure to like and subscribe because that channel needs more subscribers and it's queer content. So why wouldn't you like it? So this episode starts out with Gus laying on the floor. He's extremely miserable because he actually got Willow hurt during a pixie invasion because of his illusion powers. And so he starts to feel bad about his type of magic and even goes so far as to thinking maybe he needs to explore, different, magic avenues that are outside of being an illusionist. Now, in this world, it does kind of seem like having the ability to use illusions because there's something that aren't tangible seems to have the witch at a disadvantage, in this realm. So I thought that was really interesting that we're starting to see that because in season one, Gus was pro illusions, and now he's kind of like, well, maybe they suck. So I thought that was a really cool moment for him. I also like the fact that he sent little illusion sprites to take care of Willow, and she calls them and she's like, they are getting on my nerves, basically. Can you please take them away? Um, but it's a thought that counts, right? And she's all banged up too, but Willow is a good sport. I mean, Willow's gone through a lot in season one. So, and I kind of feel like we'll get more stories with her in season two. But even Luce says to him, she's a trooper. She keeps on ticking. So that is Willow. She's one of the strongest characters in this. So I have no worries that she's going to pull through and we're going to get a lot more awesome adventures with Willow, even though we haven't seen a lot of her or Hexside for that matter. I think we probably had like maybe 1.5 episodes of Hexside. So hopefully that will change going forward. All right. So Luce has an agenda. She would like to borrow Gus's library card to go research what, Ida's mother told her about her not being the only human that has ever lived on Bonesboro or the Boiling Isles. And so she finds out the name of this human is Philip Whittabane, and his journal is in the library. But when she goes to ask Gus for the library card, of course, he said, so you want to borrow my library card so you can go watch Amity, basically. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, I guess I should probably do a better job of hiding that. So that tells me she's been spying on the girl she has a crush on. I do, again, talk a lot more extensively about just Lumity in the other video, but I just thought it was cute. The evolution of their relationship in this is cute. So, all right. So the diary that she needs to get is in the Forbidden Stacks, and Amity has to use her staff card to get her and Luce in. But they have to be very careful because, of course, it's the Forbidden Stacks. It's very, Harry Potter. And she has a librarian boss named Malthus, the master librarian, who gave, Amity a job and also gave her own study room. So she really wants to keep this job and doesn't want to burn bridges with him, but she also wants to help Luce because she has a crush on her. So, of course, Amity does it. They get in, they find the book, but unfortunately, when they open the library book or the journal, a Echo Mouse was eating pages from the diary. And of course, Luce having a little bit of a temper, she reacts and says, you stupid rat, or something like that. And of course, it's loud enough where Malthus hears them. And then Amity ends up getting fired. Now, I was thinking that Malthus was going to be like this horrible chain smoker type, low, baritone type voice. And he ends up being like very I'm in my feelings, I'm meditating right now, I don't know what to do and process this, so I'm just gonna fire you. I'm like, it's absolutely hilarious. um at least I thought it was really funny. But so she ends up losing her job, and there's this really sad scene where Amity's in her feelings and she tells Luce that since she came there, basically her whole life has changed. She just starts doing stupid things and she doesn't like it. And Luce is crying too, because I don't know if she's reacting to that or because she also feels guilty about her losing the job. But she's like, I do stupid things around you too, Amity. which Luce has pretty much been confessing a little bit like this entire episode that she likes Amity back. Even so going so far as to pretty much offering to show her around the human realm as a date, kind of. So I did, like I said, I do like the evolution of that relationship. But long story short, Luce goes through this whole trial by fire thing and ends up having to do a lot of different things that are very dangerous to get Amity's job back. And she shows up beaten up with her card kind of singed. And it's like, I got your job back. And if you never want to see me again, blah, blah, blah. Amity's also continuing to make a change, which we've seen throughout most of last season and this season specifically. And so instead of her dyeing her hair green again, because her roots are growing out more, she dyes her hair purple. Now, I thought she was going to dye her hair to match the roots. She was going to go brown like her dad's hair, but she ended up dyeing it violet purple. So no hate there, but I just thought that was really interesting. But something that we learned from the Echo Mouse, because the Echo Mouses are like projectors. Whatever they eat, they can project out. And so we got to see a journal entry from May 21st by Philip, who is a human who comes to this world. And he says, I feel like I can harness the power of the Boiling Isles to create a human portal to get home, to return home. If you think about this, the portal to the human world is exactly what Emperor Bellos is doing. And I've been saying this from the beginning that I thought it was Emperor Bellos. Now, I still think that this character is somehow related to Luce. It could be her father. It could be a grandfather. It could be, who knows? But this is just showing me even more that this could be Emperor Bellos. Because let's be clear, I said this in my last review, Emperor Bellos, we don't see him using magic outside of using his staff. So yeah, imagine a scenario where a colonizer comes to your lands and takes your magic and hoards it all for himself, proclaiming himself to be ruler. And, nobody else is allowed to do whatever magic they want. He basically changed the dynamic of how the Boiling Isles was structured and worked. And I think when they all find out, if Emperor Bellos turns out to be human, their entire world's going to crumble. And so I am excited for this because I really want this to be true. I want him to be, actually Philip, and somehow has been able to extend his age. Maybe are a descendant of Philip's. So I don't know. There's a lot that could be said for this episode. I'll get back to Gus's story in a minute. I also thought it was interesting in this episode that Luce keeps breaking out in random Spanish. I know she would say words here and then in season 1, but she's saying like really long sentences. And since I am not Latina or Hispanic, I find myself having to go to Google Translate to see what she's saying because there was no subtitles when they come up. I don't know if this is intentional or what, to just really show us that this is a Latina or Hispanic character, which is fine. I just thought that was a really interesting choice, the randomness of that, because she does it twice in the episode. I thought it was really funny and kind of cool at the same time. Ed and Em are hilarious. They are Luce's wingmen in this. Anytime Ed talks, it's hilarious because he literally is a parody of himself. He just says things and he believes things. He's very gullible. He is the gullible twin. And I don't know. I just find them adorable. I think they're very cool. So yeah, I definitely enjoy anytime I see them also in an episode or on the screen. And now we come down to the Glandis students, Bria, Gavin, Agmar, and Bartholomew from season 1 of the Owl House. And they are after the Galder Stones. And to get it, they have to go to the Glass Bruins in the Forearms Forest. I love the naming in this show. And so Luce kind of talks Gus up as a super witch and gives him a glyph. I want to say she gave him more than one glyph, but I only saw him use one, but maybe I missed something. He used a fireball. So he goes and accompanies them and everything's going okay until they get to where, the Glass Bruins are, and they realize, or Gus realizes it's not actually ruins, but it's actually a graveyard for an illusionist like him. And even though, they are going there because they want to get these Galder Stones, which apparently can increase your powers, which they do this. he doesn't want to take them because it's disrespecting the graveyard. And illusionists apparently in this world are given Golden Stones because they don't have the type of magic that would allow them to misuse them, like the Sorcerer's Stone and all that stuff in Harry Potter. So I thought that was really interesting that the Golden Stones were primarily the guardian, like the illusionists are the guardians of these stones, which means someday that could be something that Gus does. But so Bria comes off as really sweet and supportive and gung-ho until, of course, Gus is like, I don't want to give you these stones. And then her true turdness comes out, and she basically has Gavin use his abomination magic to take him, and the illusionist guardian hostage. She's really just a ghost. He's a sweet, ghostly old man. And like capture them while they take the Golden Stones and anything else they can find of value to sell to the emperor or whatever their plans were. I will say what I loved about this episode with Gus is that we got to see just how powerful he really is, because once Bartholomew of all people gives him a pep talk about illusion magic actually being useful, he decides to cast an illusion over the entire cemetery or graveyard. And he does such a convincing job that, basically he convinces Gavin that his dad, who he has daddy issues, who's not giving him attention, actually wants to be around him. Angmar, I think, sees a butterfly, a really rare butterfly, and he's really into butterflies, and he runs off and chases that. And with Bria, she was at first harder, but then he makes her hands turn to stone and they explode. And he has like all the statues are, there's blood coming out of their, eyes. And she's like, you're not an illusion. You can't even touch me. And so he makes himself part of the illusion where he grabs her. But it's actually one of the stone things grabbing her, and she freaks out and runs away. And it just showed me just why Gus was allowed to skip 2 grades. He is a very good illusionist. And I hate that they didn't make him feel like he was in the episode at the beginning, or more like he felt like he wasn't because of some situations he was in. But I don't know. I really enjoyed seeing him power up, because I want to see Gus more in episodes. I also love the fact that at the end, him and Bartholomew are going to be friends. They seem to be, he's found somebody else that he can hang out with, because remember in season 1, when he was trying to take over being president of Gus's club, and, he was being a turd until they saved him. He wasn't that great of a guy, but he actually has changed, even saying that, you saved a jerk like me. So he even understands that he can be a jerk. And I think that Bartholomew might end up being more on, Team Luce's side. I call Team Luce all of her friends from Hex side, but even though he doesn't go there, he goes to Glandis. I think it's really cool that, potentially they have another ally. So, and I think they're going to need all the allies they can get. Cause again, I think what Belos is doing, there's a storm coming. It's going to be really bad. And so I think they're going to need all of the allies they can possibly get in this series. But yeah, Gus has done an extremely powerful power up with his illusions. So I'm waiting to see what, Willow's power up's going to be this season too. Because again, we really haven't seen her but for a few lines in, throughout the season. But we're only on episode 7. So I'm sure we're going to have a Willowish, themed episode coming soon, and hopefully a lot more Lumity, because I really love anytime that they're on the screen together. But yeah, overall very, very good episode. Definitely has me questioning stuff, but at the end of the day, I think that Philip being either Belos or Belos's descendant is a very good theory, and I like what would happen. I mean, it would literally, the Boiling Isles would blow up if they figure out that their precious emperor that they've all been loyal to for all these years is actually a human being. I'm excited, but I want to know what you think. So please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to set up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you like news next on Nerd Bell, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.